Hi everyone, welcome back to Grandpa Mark's Hobbies and build update number 1 on our 1968 Pontiac Firebird 400 kit. This is a Revell kit. It is a 2-in-1. We're only going to build one of two, and it's 1/25th scale. I got all the parts prepped. They're just about ready to get washed and sanded so that they can go in the spray booth. But I wanted to bring you, while I was right at this point, to go over some of the things that I've done and some things to think about when you're doing it. So let me move some of this garbage out the way. Here, just, and we'll start right here with the body and the back body clip, I guess it would be. I'm going to bring in just a smidge, maybe. There we go. This piece you see has locator marks on it, but with this, let me pop this off. This is just foamy sticky tape that I use when I paint. It goes on, it comes off real easy. You can get it at the dollar store. I cut it up small, and it holds really well. But this piece, when it went in here, was so tight that it was flexing the body panels out pretty far. And when you put it in, it would actually spring back out. So I worked on that and sanded it and got it to where I got as much of the gaposis out of it as I could, because this can't be glued in early, which I wish it could. That way it would match the body a lot better. But it can't be glued in early. So you have to make sure that this fits up now, or else you're gonna have problems down the road. So, and I remember getting into those in the hot water when I built this a long time ago, with it would push out, and it just made it almost impossible to get a good glue joint in there. So with this now, all I'll have to do is I'll scrape these little things down here, the locator marks, and I'll scrape this down after I paint. I'll cross that, and just a couple of spots over here, I'll scrape this off, and when I put that together, that glue will have something to dig into. So, and then I can come back and I'll touch this up with a little panel liner. Really, I'll use my pencil, and that'll hide that where the paint break is, if there is any that's kicked out, and it'll hold in place a lot better. But just think about it. This thing was molded a lot bigger than it should have been from the get-go. So you will have a little work to do there. So let me put that in, and this is another reason why I like the foamy tape, is if you got to take it back off, you can put it back on, and it's going to hold really well. I still have to clean out the insides here for the tail lights, but that fits much better. These door panels, you know, I forgot about this. The door panels, when I did the unboxing, I was like, oh, they look pretty good. But I'll tell you what, when I got down into them and started, you know, cleaning off the tabs and stuff like that, I realized they are really nice. There's some really great detail in these door panels. So I'm stoked up about that. It even has the little sick chicken right here. And I don't think there's decals for the doors, but I don't think that'll be hard enough to paint where you'll be able to see it, because, you know, you're going to be looking down and across and through the glass and everything. But I think we'll be able to even get the little sick chicken painted on the door, on the side panels. And I could even scan the decals for the side, the ones that are for the side marker, because it does come with those, and make decals out of them and put them in there. So we'll see. I think I could paint that in there, even if I just did it with chrome and a little bit of red and black that would look good. This is the front skirt that goes behind the bumper. Paint this like a semi-gloss black, and then put your decal on it before you install it. Just a heads up, I forgot to do that the last time, and then you're trying to get the decal in through the bumper. It's just a pain in the butt. So our exhaust is looking great. I put this section together. This is the back section. I took my drill bit and drilled out as much as I had confidence in myself in doing, so that the tips look a little bit better. And I was trying to come in at an angle this way a little bit, but it glued together almost seamlessly. Very little sanding on that at all. So gotta love that. Got all my panel lines off that I could see, so I'm about guarantee that when I come back and paint this with the flat aluminum, that I'll see where I missed, and I'll have to scrape it and then come back and paint it again, because that white, you just it's hard to see it. So that, and I did the other ones, I got them up on the on my little alligator clips. I ran out of alligator clips on this thing. So, but I got them all cleaned up. I like the double exhaust. This fits in here really nice. It'll go like this on the kit, and I kind of like that. So you got the full exhaust in there, and it makes it to where it's seamless. You know, it's going to sit in there and lock in and hide. Well, this is upside down, but it's got a nice glue spot on it. I did take my air cleaner cover that goes on here. It was chrome. I chucked it in LA Awesome and got it back to white. I'll paint that semi-gloss black. I'll paint all this lower semi-gloss black right here. Inside here they have the air filter, so I'll paint that like a tan color and then hit it with panel liner, and that'll look pretty good. And then this top I'm going to paint like a medium, or that tank gray, to show that foam. I was going to, I'm searching. I was going to fill in the blower. As a matter of fact, I did. I just didn't put the center stripe down. Where the blower would come through the hood, I was going to sand that all down and make this just a flat hood, because it was going to be like a James Rockford color car, and I was just going for that plain Jane look, until I realized I don't have a Pontiac air cleaner that it would go with this. So I'm glad I thought of it after I just spent, I spent about a half an hour on that, and then I would have had a good hour and a half trying to get that cleared out in the bottom, and realized I don't have that air cleaner for a Pontiac. So we're gonna scrap that idea. We're gonna go with the twin scoops, which is just cool as heck, and I think it'll be okay. I did not try to open these up. I probably will. We'll see. I don't think it'll take a whole lot to run a drill through there and then just kind of scrape it back and forth until it's right. But I could also get in there with some of my acrylic paint and paint that black, and it'd be the exact same, because this piece fits on the top, and you'd never see in there. You'd look in there, it'd look exactly the same as if I just painted it. I did glue the tack on, and what I did is, before I even glued the tack on, I sanded off the locator. There's a little hoop that they put in here. Let me grab my flying finger so it stays in focus. There's a little hoop molded into the hood, and I think if you put this on, and I kind of laid it out, if you lay this in there, you're going to see that ring all the way around the outside of this, and you're not supposed to. It's supposed to come just mounted right to the hood. So I sanded that off, and then I glued this on hard with my extra thin. This is what I use mostly for before I paint, but I glued it on with that, and it even comes with the decal to go inside here. So I'll paint this black inside, and then I'll get the decal in there, and that'll work out fine. The hood fits almost good. I have two little pieces right here and right here. They're little pieces, the little gaps in there, and I almost filled them until I realized that if I do, it's not going to open because it'll hit the back corner here. This doesn't slide far enough forward to make that swing. So I'm glad I thought of that now, because that would have I would have been really upset. So I guess we're just going to have to eat those little marks there. But other than that, I got the hood to lay in there nice and flush, and I even tested it in place with the radiator and the frame. So it does close all the way, it doesn't hit, and it lays in there nice, no big gaps all the way around it. And the front looks pretty good too. So all in all, the body really came out great. I cleared the 4 pin marks, went in there, and I just used an old X-Acto blade flipped around backwards inside of this is a heavier handled holder, and I just scraped it until it was gone, and I'll hit it real quick with sandpaper, and it'll be good to go. I'm going to paint that the same color as I paint the interior, so that'll be good. But I'm happy. That hood looks great. I always did like the Formula hood, but like I said, this is what I was kind of going for, is the plain Jane on there, but it is what it is. We'll go with that. Our engine, let me do the interior before I pull this engine over. The interior detail, like the door panels, they did not skimp on. They spent some time making these seats really nice. Great detail, deep detail in here. I still have to sand around the seams. I just glued these up last night, but let me grab my flying finger again, move this out, and I'm going to draw you in here a little bit more. There we go. With these seats, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 0.2 millimeter Mobius airbrush from Gallery. I just starting to really get to like using this real fine airbrush, but I'm going to do a pre-shading on every one of these lines all the way around this thing with black, and I'm going to use flat black on it to make that nice and dark. And then I'm thinking for the interior color, and I know you guys are going to crack up, but I'm thinking XF60, my dark yellow. I think that's going to look good. This is going to be a gold car. I'm going to get as close as I can with my eye to making this the James Rockford color. I love that gold. So this color will be perfect with that gold. And this is flat, so some things I won't quick shine and some things I will, and that'll give it that it's carpet or it's the leather and things like that. And then once this is dry and I quick shine it on here after I panel, or after I do my pre-shading, once this is dry, I'll hit it with quick shine, probably 2 coats, and I'll let that dry for a couple of days, and then I'm going to come in with my brown panel liner, and I will give it a wash, a complete wash, and then with some soft Q-tips, I'll go with the direction of the leather and wipe that out, and I think that'll give it a really good leather look. And then I won't clear coat them over top of that, because that'll dry kind of both shiny and flat in places. So I think that'll give this a really good leather look. The back seat, I really like how this isn't attached, because I can spend a little bit more detail on this. And like I said, I'll do the pre-shading on this too, to give it that leather look. The doors, I'm not going to do that, because this is more of a like a vinyl, not a leather, and it's actually going to be, it should be a little bit lighter than the leather. So what I'll do with this is I'll just paint it with the dark yellow and leave it. I won't use the brown on it. And then we'll come in and we'll do the chrome and try to get the chicken in there. This I'm going to paint black. That is the radio for that's a 6x9 for the radio, or at least it was in my car. But detail out the wazoo in this interior. Dashboard, the more I looked at it, the more I was impressed with it. It comes with radio gauges. It comes with climate control gauges. I'm not going to use those, but I will use the 2 gauges that go inside here. This and this are vents, and what I'll do is I'll paint these black, and then I'll come over with the silver gel pen, and I'll try to give it a little detail, so because they were like a chrome over the top, overlay over black. I gotta look. I'm not sure if this has the split bottom wood, top leather. I know this isn't all leather or all vinyl leather, but I think this line down below here was wood grain. Can't remember. My ashtray, I'm going to leave closed in this. It's going to be a non-smoking car. But other than that, detail is fantastic. I am very impressed with the detail of this car, all the way up until I get to the suspension. And then it's kind of, I don't know. I wish they would have made this the distributor. Wow. The differential cover, I wish they would have made a separate piece. Instead of, they split it top and bottom this way, and it wouldn't take anything to make one more piece in the car to make that to where there was no seam line in the middle. It took me a long time to get that seam out of there, and I even have a little bit of a gaposis here, but I think when I paint it black, that'll disappear. But that would have been nice to be one piece. Only complaint I have about the whole kit so far, other than the Rochester carburetor, is a little bit weak. I don't know why they chrome the carbs, but our Rochester carburetor here is just a little bit weak. We'll be able to detail it up. I know it gets hidden completely, but I still like a nice looking carb when I'm working on the engine just to look at. And then it's gone forever, but I know it's there. The engine is really nice. Good detail. I threw the oil pan in the LA Awesome. The oil pan has the oil filter and the starter molded as one piece, but it looks great. I do have a little gaposis right here that I was thinking about filling until I realized that even if you're looking at it in any position, you'll never see that. So I'm going to leave that go. The oil filter sticks out far enough to where I can paint the orange all the way around it. And then I'm going to make a mix of my sky blue and chrome silver for the Pontiac color. And when I get over to paint, I'll figure out what the ratio is, and we'll go from there. I did not strip the valve covers. I know I stripped the cap for the air cleaner, but I wanted the valve covers to be chrome. I've seen that in so many pictures where you got a flat black or a semi-gloss black air cleaner cover and chrome valve covers. So I'm going to leave that. And this thing even has spark plugs molded in it. I don't know if you can see them or not. I don't know if it'll be in focus, but they're molded in there. So what I'll do is I'll just come in here and I'll kind of hit it with a knife and I'll drill in it. They're going to be drilled in just at a slight angle this way. And then I got to find a paper clip so I can do like Lannis does with his boots. And then I'll run the solder out of the boot and up to the pitiful distributor on this thing. I didn't cut it off. It did have the vacuum advance on it. If you weren't going to wire this, this would be okay because it's going to be pretty much hidden back there. But since I'm going to wire it, and since I have them, thank you again. You know who you are that sent them to me. I'm going to use a 3D printed aftermarket distributor on it. It's not going to be an HEI. I'm going to still keep it the old regular points, but it already has the little holes molded right into it. And he sent me enough sizes to where I'll be able to match it out to the right size distributor. And even though the distributors are different sizes that he had printed, he still maintained the 0.3 millimeter for the wires and for the vacuum advance. So I'll be using that. I will do a wiring video for the 400. What I'll do is I'll start it once this is painted. I'll cut these off. I'll drill them before I go into paint, and I'll show how I do that. I'll film that, but I'll really take it up after this is with the Pontiac on it and the aluminum in the back, and we'll go we'll do a complete engine from where it is to where it goes in the car to where how I'm gonna run my heater hoses, because the heater hoses on here, one of them runs from the front up here off the water pump, comes back and goes in, but on these the other one comes from the back here and it goes like kind of back up around and into the heater core. So there's that. Also, you got your radiator hose that goes here, but there's also a little hose that comes out of here and it comes up and into the top here, and that is a PCV that runs underneath the valley pan to take the pressure out of the crank, and it comes up and it attaches right into I think it's the first or the second one here on your intake, and then that gets sucked into the intake there, and then the other PCV comes from the valve cover up and kind of around and into the side of the air cleaner. So we're going to have those. This does not have a brake booster, so I won't have to run the vacuum from there. We will take the vacuum from the side of the carb and run it around to the vacuum advance on the distributor, and we'll take the fuel line off the front of the carb and run it down to the fuel pump. So, and then it goes right into the side over here on the fuel pump and up, and we'll route that, and that'll all be done with solder. There's also a sending unit that's right here that comes up, and I think it's 3-wire, but I can't remember. But that comes up and it comes back, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of my AWG 32 wire, and I'll pull some out and I'll fold it over, and I'm just going to spin it, and then I'll paint it semi-gloss black, and then we'll take that, we'll drill a hole in here and we'll put it in there, and then we'll just run that back, and that'll look the part for that sender. And then on the carburetor on this side, it has the choke release. So I got to run a little little wire for the choke release here, and then a little vacuum line that runs down and around to the front of the carb right here on the Rochester. There's the linkage needs to be doctored up a little bit on this side. Your fuel line comes off the front, and then it goes from there. So this will sit on the engine this way. Your fuel line comes off the front of it over here. Your choke lines run back to here, and then your throttle line will run off. The throttle spring on this, on the Rochesters, go back instead of front. So they're going to actually go back where they're going to completely disappear in here. So I'm not going to try to stuff the throttle spring in because it was very, very small. But I will drill into the side here, and I'll pull a piece of solder out, and we'll run it down the line to go into the firewall for the throttle control. So you got to kind of pick and choose your battles, what you're going to be able to see and what would be way off scale from what you're doing. But I'm holding this backwards here. But some of this stuff on a Rochester, I couldn't put the cover on it without knowing that, like my linkages and things like that weren't on it when it's so easy to do. So I'll do all that in the video, and we'll go from there. Again, check out how cool that engine sits on that engine stand. And it's nice. I don't bump it around. I use sticky tack to hold these in place. These are glued in because they'll work where on every engine it's just sitting on basically on the two sides of the oil pan in the back there, so it'll stay in place. But how cool is that? And it's like I got a little shop going on here by itself. Front suspension's weak. We're going to put a sway bar in there. Again, the rear suspension, not too bad. We're going to put the sway bar into that. And the other thing that drives me crazy when I look at the engine compartment in here, let me bring this in. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. There's no braces coming off here. And that's a very predominant look for this engine, is that brace that comes from the fender over on both sides. So we're going to put those braces in. I will make those braces just out of the solder, and that way I can flatten out the two ends and have one flat this way to go on here, and then the other one twisted 90 degrees to go on the side here, so I can keep it low enough to where the hood will close. But that has to go in there because it, you know, whenever I look at that picture, it's like it's missing the braces. And it's not even something like you're thinking, what is it missing? It's just boom, it's missing those braces. So we'll get those in. And then with that, I think I am ready to start doing some sanding work. And I sanded this point off of here. This is a gauge down here. I sanded it off so that the decal will fit in there. It was just easier. I'll paint that chrome, I'll put the decal on, and that'll look great. But with that, I'll let you go. Everything's about ready to get its final wash before it goes into the spray booth. And the next update, hopefully we'll have color on this. So I'll let you go here. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for the thumbs up and all the kind comments. Any comments and suggestions I'll take. But I'll let you go. Y'all have a great day and a better tomorrow. Thank you again.